Hello, and you're very welcome to a very special in section, I suppose, for the podcast. This Saturday, July the 2nd, there's a special event, I suppose, happening in Dundalk. It's a KitCon Eire, a kit collection conference for the first time ever in Ireland, and it happens to be in Dundalk in the Imperial Hotel. So with us today to talk about this, we have Gally and Paul Behan. Paul, you're very welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi guys, how are you?
All good, all good. Paul, this is a very rare event and a rare event to come to Dundalk. So you're going to have to tell us all about it.
Well, what better place to have it than Dundalk, the
The home
home
of
of
football.
football outside of Dublin in this country. The
No,
first time
there's no
I've
outside of
ever.
Dublin, Paul. It's just
Huh?
a home of football. There's no outside of Dublin. It's just a home of football.
Uh, yeah, well, we're really excited about going up to Dundalk. Yeah, we're going to have a really cool event. It is the KitCon Eire. It's a kit extravaganza, everything to do with football kit. And yes, the first time it's happening in Ireland. We're going to have kit vendors. We're going to have loads of different types of collections. We're going to have experts giving their tuppence on stuff behind the scenes. We have a little comedy show, loads of little hidden extras as well, and it's a really promising event if you're into football jerseys. Whether you're have a passing interest, or whether you're an avid collector, there'll be something for everyone there.
Yeah, look, and I suppose it's something that a lot of people would have seen it probably rise, in particular on social media. People love to lay out their jerseys and show off their collections. As well. So this is probably something that's growing. I get the impression of, Paul.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it seems to have gone through some sort of a renaissance over the last few years. I think the lockdown, the pandemic, maybe helped it a little bit. Um, but yeah, I suppose the '90s were the pinnacle of design. And that's what a lot of people are harking back to. But all those people are in their 30s and 40s now and are harking back for that 90s nostalgia. And there's a renaissance in the actual design of kits over the last few years that possibly reflect a lot of the 90s as well. So yeah, you could say it's kind of a golden age for kits. The clubs have latched onto it, and the passing fan has latched onto it a little bit more. It's a little bit more mainstream now, and yeah, I'm all for it because I'm a huge kit collector myself. So yeah, I'm riding high on the crest of the wave. Yeah.
Yeah. Personally, myself, like I would know a couple of kit collectors as well. Barry Rojak, and of course Derek Pepper from Dundalk is a big collector too. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of interest in the town, and nothing else from Derek coming along. Um, I suppose you've just mentioned it there that even the jersey you're wearing currently, the Dundalk third kit is a throwback to a real Tom McNulty time for us, and a prosperous time for the club. Also, our second kit is hark back to the GNR days of the origins of Dundalk Football Club. Like you say, it seems to be a thing that current clubs are really tapping into the history of their clubs and where they all came from. And I suppose when you think about away kits all through the years for clubs, like there's a plethora of things to really pick from there, isn't there?
Yeah, I think this is one of Dundalk's finest shirts for a long time. And what they really got right was the
Big
color,
sponsor.
the sponsor. It actually is factored into the colorway. You know, for the GNR one, I think that could have been done a tiny bit better because that's a beautiful shirt as well.
Mm.
If it was me, I would have had the Bet Regal black and amber, and then that shirt would have been just pitch perfect for me. But this one, yeah, and I love it because League of Ireland jerseys are so hard to come by, retro ones, because they never made any of them. They only made 12 of them, like extra, just in case they needed another set. And kit collectors up and down Ireland, like there's a mass scramble and a pile-on if something becomes available on eBay, because there's just so few of them available. So I like, that they're making a nod to these retro kits now, and they're producing them. The League of Ireland clubs are a bit cuter now, and they're producing them in bigger amounts and selling them, up and down the country. Or in the case of Galway, their home shirt has been the most successful ever selling home kit. They've sold them
Right.
up and down the globe, like all over. It's been absolutely phenomenal, and that's on the back of Morgan O'Brien's design, the colorway, O'Neill's, how they put it together, and it helps. There's a bit of buzz about Galway this year, but there's a bit of buzz about Galway early every year anyway.
Paul, just when you touched on the clubs in League of Ireland in particular getting back into the retro, or they're so hard to come by. It was when somebody says League of Ireland retro, obviously Dundalk, as a Dundalk fan, I think a certain jersey. But would you say there's one League of Ireland jersey that's straight away? I think of the Guinness one from Cork, at Cork City, with the Guinness across the front. Would there be one that you would think, if you had to have your hands, and you probably do have your hands on already, but if there's one that's really sought after, is there one in particular that you think?
I'd like the purple Shamrock Rovers match winner one, with the Whirlpool, just because it was
Whirlpool, yeah.
And I actually remember as a child, I think it was 93, 94, so maybe I might have been a teenager. I would have been starting to wear my my X-Works and my Eclipse jeans.
Classics.
I don't know how old you guys are, but that probably makes
X-Works, yeah.
Makes sense.
Oh yeah.
With the little lapel
I
on the
remember
side.
thinking it was horrendous. I was like, that looks like cat vomit that has been dragged across the floor. But now, as a discerning collector, an adult, and I look back at it and I go, do you know what? It was groundbreaking, innovative, disruptive, and actually pretty good design. But again, you can't find them, and if you do find them, they're really expensive.
Yeah.
I'd love a 1988 Dundalk FA Cup shirt with the harp. And didn't they? What was the year they had the one all through the year, and then they wore a different one in the FA Cup final? Do you remember the one with the little red segments here and the kind of navy? Was it O'Neill's? Was it, or was
it?
Yeah, the 2002 final, the cup final against Bows, became a different Talca Park. That one.
Yeah, and they wore the one with the pinstripe and the round neck. What was that? 2002.
That was 2002.
That home shirt that they wore in the league that year is phenomenal. It's absolutely gorgeous, like really good. A Galway United Wrangler shirt, obviously that'll be I'd love one of those. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I'd like, because the chance of me actually getting them is is impossible. It's only getting harder and harder. So I think that currently the clubs are doing it well now, and they're reaching out. What clubs have cottoned on to, some of them anyway, are that there is kit collectors all over the world now that will buy a kit based on its merits and the aesthetic of it, and you can actually borrow somebody's allegiance through your polyester if you do it right. And fans can pop up all around the world just because they like your threads, and that's clubs are tapping into that a little bit more so,
Yeah. On the show, it depends on when we're watching this, because we'll put this as a separate little segment. But the our guest tonight is Alan O'Neill, former goalkeeper, Alan O'Neill with Dundalk Football Club, and of course, I think one of the most iconic jerseys for him is his Sweden top. So we're gonna obviously have to ask him if he still has that, because there's something that would be really iconic. There's cup winning jersey, him in the Sweden jersey as his goalkeeping jersey, because I think there was a clash of kits or something. We'll have to double check with him later on.
I'd like to find that story. All right.
Literally a one-off. It's a one-off.
Well, if we ask him now, if he's around on Saturday, we actually have Eddie O'Mahony, Ireland soccer shirts, is going to be there, and he's bringing the 1936 Ireland goalkeeper shirt with him. This thing is like an Aaron jumper. It has a turtleneck. If it got wet, I'd say you would probably be stuck to the floor. It's like the most precious piece of Irish soccer history, really. I cannot. I'm like a child listening to Eddie when he's telling me the kind of things that he's bringing. So if you're a goalkeeper fan, this is something that you will be able to see up close, maybe even, feel of it, and get a sense of almost 100 years of Irish football, like right here in front of you. Like, so yeah.
And Paul, just on something like that year, that history of that jersey, to transport something like that, like what did that, like, it can't be just simple to get a Duns bag and a Spa bag, but what, that obviously, it's probably encased in something, is it? Like that,
I'm not sure.
The pressure of
Eddie
transporting something like that.
Eddie would be the man to ask, and he'd be a great man to get on your podcast now, because he'd be able to tell you up and down, and the ins and outs of everything. But I'm not sure. But it's a fabulous piece of history, and he is just minding it for the people of the state until we get a full-time museum somewhere. He's only the curator, like, until that happens, because all those things deserve to be in a museum case and open to the world to see.
Yeah. Paul, I think everyone watching this, we were doing a disservice if we didn't ask you to have a look there behind you, maybe, and tell us something that you're, what, I mean, if you had to pick anything out of this, what do we talk about? Oh my God.
Oh God, what? Yeah, people always ask me what my favorite shirt is, my favorite jersey, and it's such a hard question. I'm worse than any girl getting ready for a night out every morning. I don't. Oh, what'll I wear? What'll I wear? Yeah, I have a soft spot for Italian jerseys, though. I always have a soft spot for Italian jerseys. So I guess my favorite current shirt of the year would be the Venezia shirt.
Yes.
I'm a big Kappa fan anyway. This is like, it's very regal, like, it's very, the gold touches. The badge on it is
it's fab.
Really, really, the little trims. And I don't know if you can see up close. There's kind of like a starry night sky, so you can see stars. And then the small little Milky Way in the cloud. I don't know if you can see that in the material.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Exquisite. It belongs on the catwalk or in a museum. It's the Italians have taken a notch up the last few years and embraced the Renaissance. Because, like, 90s Italian kits, we've all watched on Channel 4. Oh, that's so. And all so, yeah, one of my favorite retro shirts would be the Sampdoria. I've always had a fascination with Sampdoria. I think they probably have the best colorway in world football.
Cracking.
It really works. I've only 4 or 5 Sampdoria shirts, but each of them are showstoppers. Like, and the what do you call the old man with the pipe? He has a name. The Backlior
could be.
Escapes me.
Yeah. But I have the third jersey from 93, 94. Asics.
Wow.
There's the guy I was telling you about.
Yes.
That is absolutely
unbelievable.
Look, and you think, like, even it looks so simple, like a red, a blue, and a white, but it's with the design and the way they've done it, like, it's so that's like, they're one off. You can't even repeat them. They're
no, you won't see them. And again, 90s Italian shirts are hard to come by, but that one is it's just made so beautifully. It's chunky, it's durable, it's good design, and it it just feels like it's gonna last forever. And shirts, evoke certain memories, especially the retro ones. You remember the matches, you remember the feeling, you remember the results, or the cup final, or the game you watched on TV, or the time you ran out of your house screaming, or I think there's an extra dimension that maybe other clothing mightn't offer. That you wear a suit of armor or something that invokes certain feelings in you as well. So I guess that's maybe why they have a little bit of power attached to them.
Yeah. I suppose, Paul, when you compare and contrast like that, what is the big things that you notice the difference between these classic retro jerseys from yesteryear and say modern jerseys now. You know, we hear all about that they're, you know, they're super light, non-absorbent, and easy and breathable for, you know, now, and compared to, I suppose, we can all remember some of our older jerseys, and like you just mentioned, when it rained, you know, you would really feel you'd be waterlogged down. And I'm thinking even of rugby jerseys back in the day used to, you know, weigh a ton, especially when wet. So is you know, you can probably really see a evolution in technology through the jerseys from back in yesteryear to now.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, the difference. Absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, they are made with performance in mind now, where it was kind of practicality and maybe cost 30 or 40 years ago. So the shirts were made in in a certain way that wasn't maybe ideal for the players. Um, but they were great for fans, and they're great for collectors because all these jerseys are still in great nick now. Whereas the shirts today, I, I I guess the advances in technology mean it's there's different production methods. So the player ones are sleeker, lighter, more breathable, more stretchy, and there's different innovations that have happened over the last 10 or 15 years that have changed the course of it now altogether. Like, so the breathable stuff is fascinating, and I kind of like all that stuff. Like, I have a brand jersey there from Norway. I'll show you there. It's only here.
It must be amazing being able to just go out and grab that or random jersey. That the ideal room in the house for me would something like that.
So I don't know if you can see this, but it's almost looks a little bit kind of PVC.
Yeah, it's very
there's like a shine off it. Yeah.
There's a kind of a shine of it. So this is a Hummel, which, you know, is a very, very innovative Scandinavian brand, and this has been treated with a material that makes it look kind of PVC, but it's completely wind and water resistant, because they play in climate that's, you know, a lot worse than ours, you know, and that little wind chill factor might only make a modicum of a percentage, you know, to performance or to speed or whatever, but they thought that it was, you know, enough to do something like this, to steal the extra percentage, steal the extra margins, you know. In 2006, I don't know if you remember the Italy World Cup winning shirt, do you?
2006, yeah.
So it was blue and a navy sort of swoosh underneath the arm.
Right.
So it was actually based on a superhero design, and it made them look like there was movement.
Wow.
But so that was the aesthetic part of it, which made it look really interesting. But the practicality part of it, from Puma, I actually spoke to Rob Warner, the designer, and I was fascinated by it, because I have an Angola one from the same year. So it looks pretty simple. It's just a stripes, kind of a little bit like Sampdoria, baby.
Yeah.
But this material is like the sail, like a sailboat.
Wow.
Jeez.
It's not like fabric at all. So it's sort of treated. It's completely water and wind proof. There's no stitches in it. It's only glued. The panels are glued together. So there's a seam there. In the back, then there's an elastic arch over the shoulder, so it allows for full rotation of the arms, and it can't get wet. Yeah. So it the water just literally rolls off it. Tiny little innovative things that are built up like that, for me, are fascinating. I don't know how they played in some of the stuff, and I don't know how they played in the 1930s with the Aaron jumper stuff, you know. Or did you ever see an Ireland 0001 shirt?
No.
Like an Aaron jumper.
Like a duvet.
Great, yeah, like a duvet, exactly, yeah. So yeah, there's swings and roundabouts. The modern stuff, although it's very innovative, the stuff and the replicas and the stadium shirts aren't going to last 30 or 40 years. They're not built the same way. But yeah, they probably are more comfortable and more practical to wear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. But
you made the jersey, it's fallen
collecting
off.
stay retro because those ones are going to hold their value. There's less of them around. The mass production of the shirts nowadays means that in 30 or 40 years, a Man United jersey isn't going to be as valuable as
I've just got one more.
As one of these.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
That's class. That is
Brilliant.
class. You know Villa ones, do you? For Chris?
I have the greatest Villa shirt that was ever made.
There we go, Chris.
I'm hanging on now.
Like United have tried to redo that jersey, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not,
oh,
remember the green? Yeah, I forgot that one.
Yeah. The throwback to the 93-94 striped Essex jersey.
Yeah. I have a soft spot for Villa's jerseys in the 90s, but they're actually kind of tricky to come by. So when they brought that one out as a nod to it, and me being a Kappa fan, loved it. Got it straight away. Loved it.
And the launch for it, they had Tony Daly and Sean Teal and everything wearing the jersey. So it's like, I'm right back. I'm right back to when I first started following Villa.
Are you both Villa fans, are you?
No, I'm a Dundalk fan, obviously, but I'd be a Man United fan, Manchester United fan. Unfortunately, at the minute.
Yeah. I was actually in Oriel Park in 94 as a 16-year-old, and I went up with two of my friends and my friend's dad to see specifically Cantona, but I loved the fact that Kanchelskis and Bruce, and they had a really strong team out, and they walked right by us. And I was like starstruck because I was obviously a huge, United fan at the time. And then we ended up with a load of Dundalk fans on the terrace somehow. I'm not sure. Did we get separated from his dad or something? And then Dundalk went 1-0 up, and we were like, come on! And then they went 2-0 up. And even though we were wearing our United jerseys, all of the travelling fans were groaning and grumbling, and we were actually celebrating Dundalk going 2-0 up just because of the underdog story and everything. And then United turned the screw a little bit.
Then they toned up and stopped warming up. I remember that.
But it was a great experience. That was the only time I was ever in Oriel Park, so I'm looking forward to going again on Friday night and seeing the atmosphere there and catching up with a few people. I'm really excited actually.
The only thing to be said with Oriel Park from '94, it hasn't changed much. Like we've got a new shed, but that's pretty much it. It hasn't actually changed that much.
Paul, was that Man United game the infamous Eddie Van Boxten saving Cantona's penalty, the only goalkeeper to ever have done it?
It was. I was there, and I was shouting for Dundalk.
Well, we won't go into Eddie Van Boxtel though. Let's leave it there.
As not a guest on the show.
Let's keep it on this podcast. Yeah.
Well, look, Paul, thank you so much. Thank you so much for showing us some of your jerseys. So everyone keep an eye out in Oriel Park on Friday night because Paul will be there, and we hopefully with a couple of guests. And as I say, we will inquire with Alan O'Neill where his Sweden jersey is, because that could be a hell of a one for a collection someday for somebody, and if not, definitely one for if we ever get a shirt museum for us all, so Paul, just to reiterate again to everyone, so Saturday the 2nd in the Imperial Hotel, tickets €12,
10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. We're there all day, so pop down, say hello. Tickets are €12. Kids and seniors go free. There will be loads to see, loads to do. Collections from Finn Harps, Dundalk, obviously, Sligo Rovers, Celtic, Liverpool, Manchester United, J League, pre-MLS stuff, NASL stuff from America from the 70s and 80s, like blow your mind stuff. Eddie O'Mahony's Ireland Soccer, Ray Houghton's actual shirt from the Necker Stadium 1988 will be there. You can see it
Wow.
in the flesh. You can smell the English tears off it. There is going to be a panel discussion. There's going to be Aidan O'Riordan and Gary Cook from Après Match they're premiering their brand new comedy sketch show, which details 100 years of Irish soccer. All of this is happening in the home of Irish football, Dundalk. Come on to town. Come down and see us.
Love it.
See us in the Imperial Hotel at 10 o'clock Saturday morning.
Perfect, Paul. Thank you so much
Brilliant.
for your time, and you're welcome back on anytime.
Lovely. Thank you.
Cheers, Paul. Pleasure.